cakes, vegetable seeds, and we won't tell the Minister of Health, but we also buy tobacco. We sell a number of products, such as steel and chemical products that are used by Tanzanian industry, helping to industrialize Tanzania. We sell tanker trailers and mining equipment used in the mining sector in Tanzania. We sell insecticide and fungicide as well as rodenticide, that's the ones used for rats, that are used in Tanzanian agriculture. We sell tires used by motorists and food products used by consumers. Last year was a good year for trade, reaching 8.7 billion rand. That is 33 million rand of trade every working day between our two countries, and that excludes gold. Because a lot of Tanzanian gold, some 12, 13 billion rand of it, comes to South Africa. It's refined at the Rand refinery and then sold on bullion markets elsewhere in the world. So we can both buy more. We need, as South Africa, to buy more Tanzanian products. We need Tanzanian consumers to buy more South African products. Who best to tell us how to buy and sell and invest more than the private sectors of those two countries? And so it's my pleasure to call on the representatives of the private sector to come forward, and I'm going to ask you to welcome Mr. Gagan Santosh, the chairman of Kamal Steel and a member of the Tanzanian Private Sector Foundation. And I'd like him to be accompanied by Mr. Dr. Stavros Nikolai, a senior executive at Aspen Pharmacare and board member of Business Unity South Africa. And I'm going to give them the floor to tell us how they see us expanding the business opportunity between the two countries. May I invite the two business representatives to come forward, and I'm going to give Mr. Gagan Santosh the first opportunity, and he will then be followed by Dr. Nikolai. Please, the podium is yours.
Your Excellency, Cyril Ramaphosa, President of Republic of South Africa, Your Excellency, Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of United Republic of Tanzania, Excellencies and High Commissioners, Honorable Minister, President of the both Republic of South Africa and United Republic of Tanzania, senior government officials, heads of public institutions, business executive in South Africa and Tanzania, respected ladies and gentlemen. Today is a very special day. We have the two power of the Africa, South Africa and Tanzania. Yes, here is a very special, very, very special day. We are here. I want to say thank you to all TIC and our institutions. They organize the meetings and DTIC. So, Excellency, this is our two countries. This is a very unique day today. We are presenting our success and our challenges, everything. I just want to say that our Tanzania is the enormous, energy and the growing country, as well as in terms of infrastructure. Maybe you're aware about more than 20 billion project is going on in the SGR and dam project, many road projects. So that way, South Africa also, as I feel personally, there's a lot of challenges, but the South Africa can play as a big brother role to support Tanzania. That is my personal feeling. And on behalf of Private Sector Foundation, I'm speaking today as a chairman of Kamal Group. We have some challenges, both sides I heard about today in the meetings. That is my request. On behalf of that, we have to, the taxations department and the what you call the, together the two governments come together and in the government level to resolve all kind of the issues. So, Excellency, this is, I want to say another things. There we have some common issues, general issues like, permit, senior executive permit. This is the, this is the every, normal task. This kind of the issues is here. The cost and the business between the two countries and the taxation treaty, there's some challenges. Our South African part talking something, Revenue Department of Tanzania. So there's a common base that we have to neutralize these kind of challenges. So, but I want to say today for me as a Kamal, we invested recently last year, we invested 500 million rand in South Africa. We take over the Cisco plant. That was the almost dead company, and I get guidance by the DTIC last year, and then we successfully take over. So it was a great experience, and as I told you, the Tanzania need at least minimum excellency 1.2 million ton of steel every year because of our infrastructure project is going on. That is our all the calculations based on the projects. So that was the main reason 2 years back, because I cannot increase. I am the largest steel producer in Tanzania and supplying neighboring country also. Then I decided I cannot increase the capacity in Tanzania. Let me go South Africa, because South Africa I studied is the once upon a time is the largest steel producer in the world. Then I communicate DTIC, they say we have some project, they dead already, can you take over? I mean, it's okay, I'm welcome to take over, because I have to send 100% my production to Tanzania. My Tanzania need the steel, and even the support the steel sector other companies as well as our own companies. We are importing presently from China and India. Better way I can produce here and then export to Tanzania in the cheapest way. So that we did the all investment here successfully. We have some challenges, journal on behalf of other business people. We are facing, we are neutralizing, so that way. The major challenge, there's a, Sir Excellency, there's many challenges are there in the government level. But what I feel as a business, because I am like a horse mouth, because I'm running the industries both sides. I want to come on the table, everything on the real base. So the Excellency, the biggest factor, what I feel South Africa and Tanzania between is the logistic. 3 times more and 4 times more logistic is even the South Africa is close to Tanzania, but the logistic from China or India almost is I can say 4 times more than Cape Town or Durban to Tanzania. 4 times more. So how can we compete the international market if that kind of logistic distance is less, but the logistic cost, shipping cost is 4 times more than the China and India. So that is one of the biggest challenge in the practical ground. We have to work out how to reduce this kind of. I have my own plans because I have to compete international market. We bought our own ships, so our cost will reduce by less than China or India. So I'm working in that time. While my steel will go every month shipped to Tanzania, we load our agro product from Tanzania to here, so we can provide the cheapest cost to the support to my farmer in Tanzania. So that's I already plan, is not only plan, already implemented, Excellency. So, sir, this is some challenges, and we are working on that all, and especially for poor logistic, lack of harmonization of the regulatory framework. That is the all government-based level, the things, the policy-based. So where we can be because both sides is the very equal opportunity, Excellency. The Tanzania is growing very fast. Next 5 years, I am wishing what the vision of my Mama Excellency President, what she's pushing all the way industrialization. She visited all the inviting lot of investors, and many investors coming from South Africa also and all over the world. So the Tanzania is growing enormous investment. So that way, this is a very big opportunity for South Africa to provide the more, resources, because this is and as I feel, I told you, is the multiple resources here. If we work out very plainly, we can do miracle and we can join hand together, because only Kamal Steel, if supply export from here, just recently Honorable Minister told me 8 billion trade last year. If only my Kamal Steel supply Cisco, Kamal Cisco, this will be the more than 3 billion every year I can do easily. Easily, this is my minimum production what I plan, and we can increase. In Northern Cape, we are announced last 2 weeks before, I'm putting another steel plant. As I told you, we are going to put we need 1 million tons. So I'm planning to another plant in Northern Cape. Already I made the premier of Northern Cape. And as well as I collaborated here, one of the Pro Steel. So what product we are not making, I will buy from the Pro Steel and load in our ship, and as well as the another company, long haulage, the company. So they are making pipe. I introduced that company, MD, to Tanzanian big companies over there, so we can collaborate, make a bridge, a strong bridge to supply from here. So Excellency, this is all the challenges. How can we get support? And one my special personal challenges, I have to speak with you. I am badly sabotaged in Cape Town by the personalized people. Badly sabotaged. I am bleeding since last 1 year. Fully bleeding. I am paying the 14 months salary without production, and the people creating many problems. Even my life in threat. They send the people in the evening in some unknown cars. So whenever I travel Tanzania to Cape Town, they put a camera outside, then we report to police, they remove the cameras. So they are watching me, so they're creating rumors, Kamal can be die any time. So that sometime my people, they say, the car is there. There's some police, you go later on, you arrange some security. So there's some private people, they want to be the king continue there, though they want to monopolize the business. What I'm talking, maybe the Excellency, I'm really fed up there. But I'm not weak, I'm very strong. I'm fighting everyone, and fortunately, it's day before yesterday we start production. And they are sponsoring the media. Monday News, they put the fake picture of oil refinery, how the Kamal is still going to spoil the environment of the Kamal Cape Town. Put the refinery picture, fire is coming from the chimney. We not started production, but they have already in the media sponsored, just Monday, because they know that I'm going to start on production on Tuesday. So the Monday, the Kamal Tanzania is going to spoil the atmosphere of Cape Town. I buy this company from IDC with the old regulations. There was all the license there. Environmental, everything. This factory from last 40 years existing. This is not a new company. So these kind of people don't want to run the industry over there, Excellency. This is the biggest challenge. Thank you very much today. That's why my Excellency Mama is here. She can hard. I'm not a billionaire people. I'm putting my hard money here. I'm doing everything. I'm a small businessman, people not like a big industrialist. But I'm trying my level best. From Tanzania, I can do something. This is the only one investment from Tanzania. So please protect us. Thank you very much. I want to, please, carry on. Thank you.
Thanks. So that's a hard act to follow, I guess. Your Excellencies, President Ramaphosa, President of the Republic of South Africa, Your Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Excellencies, High Commissioners, all the honorable ministers from both sides that are present here today, senior government officials, heads of public institutions, business executives from both Tanzania and South Africa, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, members of the media. My name is Stavros Nicolau, and I am a Group Senior Executive at Aspen Pharmacare, a pharmaceutical company headquartered on the continent, and also a board member of Business Unity South Africa. Aspen is heavily invested in Tanzania and is one of the largest pharmaceutical investors in that country and in fact in the region. Let me firstly pass on my appreciation to my colleague standing alongside me, Mr. Gagan Santosh, Chairman of Kama Steel, and also a member of the Tanzania Private Sector Foundation. By him standing next to me today, we are sending two very clear messages. The first is a positive reflection on the business engagements, the dialogue, and the forum that we experienced, Presidents, during the course of today. And secondly, the overwhelmingly ambitious program to drive intracontinental trade and investment starts at fora such as this. It's not by accident, and I'm veering off script here, Minister, it's not by accident that next month in April in Cape Town we will be hosting an African Continental Free Trade Agreement Summit. Business people will be present, and our biggest challenge is how do we turn all this goodwill into intra-trade growth and investment. And it starts with positive engagements, such as the one we've experienced today. Your Excellencies, as a supporting event to the second Binational Commission and the state visit by Excellency Dr. Hassan, over 220 business executives representing both countries responded to the call to forge a new deal between our two nations in line with the theme of this particular business forum. These business people were joined by 20 exhibitors to showcase the capability and opportunity that exists between our two countries and indeed on the continent. The business and industry leaders gathered here today agreed, and they agreed overwhelmingly, to join hands and fully support the efforts of our two governments to both reinvigorate and also to redefine the strategic partnership between our two countries. In this regard, the Business Forum discussed and identified specific opportunities that could, if properly harnessed, properly nurtured, constitute the basis for the realization of a new era of trade and investment between our two nations. In this regard, the Business Forum discussed and identified specific opportunities, and some of these opportunities included the following. Number one, agriculture and agro-processing. South Africa and Tanzania agree that agricultural development on a commercial scale is important for food security, import substitution, and the potential it presents for inclusion of women and youth, in addition to the job creation opportunity that it presents. Opportunities also exist in the sector for bilateral trade and investment in emerging crops such as coffee, sunflower, sesame, and other high-value crops. Minister, I better add tea in there after what you told us earlier. Let me move on to the next sector, the second one, which is oil and gas. A feasibility study conducted over a 3-year period between 2010 and 2013 confirmed the potential to build a natural gas economy in Tanzania. The Department of Trade and Industry, through the Regional Spatial Development Initiatives Program, the RSDIP as it's known, was instrumental in this process. We take note here in South Africa and commend the commitment of our two respective governments to reinvigorate cooperation in infrastructure and industrial projects. In this regard, the potential $30 billion investment in the Matawara gas development presents significant opportunities to strengthen cooperation and partnerships between our two countries along the entire value chain. A value chain that includes the development of natural gas distribution and processing infrastructure. The third area, which is mining and minerals beneficiation. Our two countries can play an important role and contribute towards the development of battery mineral value chains, given our respective minerals endowment. There are opportunities to enhance cooperation in mineral exploration, in beneficiation, and value addition and the incubation for small-scale miners. Import substitution opportunities in mining and minerals beneficiation exist, particularly in the area of phosphates. Currently, South Africa imports most of its phosphoric acid from India for use in food, cosmetic, animal feed, and electronics. Remember what we said earlier about growing intracontinental trade. Let me move to the final area and the final opportunity that we saw. It doesn't mean it's an exhaustive list, President, of opportunities, but these were amongst the 4 that we considered this morning. So the 4th one is in construction and infrastructure development. There is a general appreciation from both sides that the development of social, economic infrastructure is critical for the development of industry and the movement of people and goods from source to market. Specific opportunities exist in road, rail, logistic infrastructure, water treatment, energy, and cold chain storage. Tanzania highlighted its aggressive infrastructure spend program, which outlines high priority projects which present potential trade and investment opportunities for the South African private sector. Excellencies, I've spent a fair amount of time on the opportunities, and the opportunities abound. Let me turn very briefly, because the opportunities far outweigh the challenges. But it would be remiss of me not to mention some of the challenges at a very high level that South African businesses are experiencing in Tanzania. And let me hasten to add that I raise these in the context of this being an outstanding forum in which to engage on pathways that we can embark on to mutually resolve these issues. And they reside in 3 areas or 3 clusters, if I can call them that. The first is investment challenges. There are issues around the jurisdiction of arbitration in agreements, i.e. the neutrality of the jurisdictions. There are issues, also jurisdictional issues, on where foreign currency accounts are held in escrow. Those are both inhibitors right now of investment, and something we would like to engage on through the appropriate processes. The second area, or the second bucket of challenges, is that of market access. And let me cite a few examples, again, in the context of growing intra-trade between our countries and our continent. The first is excise duties on South African wines. There are certain provisions of local content and localization that are being prohibitive and inhibitive at the moment. Recognition of certificates of origin or non-recognition thereof, those are areas we need to engage on. And finally, let me turn to the TRA, which is the SARS equivalent in South Africa, the Tanzanian Revenue Authority. It would probably be beneficial for a workshop of sorts to be held with the South African companies and the TRA to try and find alignment on some of the interpretational issues right now that are posing problems and are inhibiting business between our 2 countries. Colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, let me conclude, having outlined overwhelmingly what the opportunities are, and in the minority what the challenges are. Let me conclude by firstly expressing our deepest appreciation to His Excellency, Mr. Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa, the President of our country, for creating this opportunity of engagement. Our President is one who stands for economic growth and intracontinental growth. And President, you have demonstrated that again very aptly today through this forum, successful forum, lasted many hours, and you have taken the time, both yourself and your counterpart, to listen to us. Many presidents don't do that, and we appreciate it. Thank you. Lastly, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me also make a call to the private sector, my colleagues, to commit to putting in place suitable mechanisms for more regular interactions aimed at facilitating deal-making and networking with our Tanzanian counterparts moving forward. Working together, moving forward, we will grow our intra-trade between our two countries and the continental intra-trade growth that we are all hoping and aspiring for. Thanks very much. It's been a great pleasure. Thank you.
Well, I'd like to thank the two business representatives for providing us with that very rich and detailed set of reports on the opportunities that there are between the two countries, but also the frankness about some of the challenges that we will have to address, challenges that both countries would have to take note of and work actively on. And to address that, we have a short announcement to make in a few minutes' time. But before doing so, I am going to invite my dear colleague and sister, the Honorable Dr. Ashatu Kijaji, the Minister of Investment, of Industry and Trade of the United Republic of Tanzania, to address us. We've already started to talk about the challenges, and we've both given a commitment that she will come back to South Africa and I will travel to Tanzania so that we make measurable, concrete progress in addressing these challenges. So she's filled with energy and I'd like you to welcome her.
Your Excellency, Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Your Excellency, Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa, President of the Republic of South Africa, Honorable Ibrahim Patel, Minister for Trade, Industry and Competition from the Republic of South Africa, Ministers from South Africa and Tanzania, Permanent Secretaries, Head of Government Institutions from the two countries, Head of Private Companies, distinguished guests, members of the press, good evening. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to convey my sincere thanks to our presidents, Her Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania, and His Excellency Mr. Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa, President of the Republic of South Africa, for their continued commitment on strengthening the cooperation of our two countries. Our presidents agreed to have their binational cooperation meeting here in South Africa and decided for it to be followed by the Business Forum. This forum provides a platform to share opportunities available in our two countries and look into ways of promoting strong and long-term partnership and accelerating investment and trade between us. Therefore, this forum is a critical part of joint efforts to promote trade and investment. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to take this opportunity to offer our sincere appreciation to the government of the Republic of South Africa for the hospitality that has been extended to us since we arrived in this beautiful city of Pretoria. Indeed, we enjoy a nice and comfortable stay. Distinctively, I would like to take this privilege to express our profound gratitude to the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition of South Africa for participating in organizing and hosting this business forum. We thank you very much. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, As we have heard, in front of you is the government and private sector delegations from South Africa and Tanzania gathered here to share existing trade and investment opportunities as well as challenges the business communities of the two countries face in their day-to-day business transactions. We have heard the commitment from my brother, Honorable Patel. We are ready to deal with all the challenges so that you can have a well-arranged and organized business transactions between our two countries. In this meeting, for us from Tanzania, I have been accompanied by 6 sector-specific ministers, as well as several senior government officials. They are here to listen to you, business community, talk to you, and respond to whatever inquiries and concerns you may have regarding the investment and business climate in Tanzania. I request you to make full use of their presence in this room. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, today's forum includes several activities. As we have heard, we had some discussions on 4 different sectors of economic activities. In these discussion forums, we are featured with knowledgeable panelists from different private sectors, as well as from ministries and institutions, to provide more clarifications on opportunities, policies, and guidance for investing in their respective specific sectors. The roundtable discussions in this business and investment forum, as we have heard, focused in specific 4 factors, that's agriculture, oil and gas, mining, and construction and infrastructure development. I'm certain that during the roundtable discussions, you have heard a lot about what Tanzania offers in terms of investment opportunities in these specific sectors. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as I commend the organizers from both Tanzania and South Africa side for their initiatives to hold this event, I'm optimistic that this forum will immensely continue to promote the outstanding bilateral relations that exist between the two sides. Tanzania and South Africa share the goal of achieving economic prosperity and long-term growth. Therefore, this forum will serve as the benchmark of unleashing the potential of South African investment in Tanzania and vice versa, as well as a catalyst for South African investors' continued commitment to the country. I wish to reiterate that Tanzania and South Africa are historical and strong partners. My colleagues in the Ministry of Investment, Industry and Trade and myself are committed to continuing working with our counterpart in South Africa, as you have heard the commitment from my brother, and we are looking forward to more practical and positive engagement between us. And to let you know that we have agreed, and we were just discussing with my brother, the second meeting that we are to plan, the 2 ministries, we will have a business forum in Zanzibar, Tanzania. So this is something I just wanted to share with you. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude my remarks, I would like to appreciate the good efforts made by organizers from both South Africa and Tanzania, including Trade and Invest South Africa, Tanzania Investment Center, TanTrade, Tanzania High Commission in South Africa High Commission in Tanzania, Tanzania Private Sector Foundation, and other stakeholders who have made this forum a success. Without them, we know it could have been difficult for us to organize this specific forum. So thank you so much for joining us and coming to this specific forum. And thank you, my dear brother, Honorable Minister Patel. I think we have concluded also. As you have said, we will be signing here a memorandum of understanding showing our commitment in helping our business communities between the two countries. Asanteni sana kwa kunisikiliza, and we are ready working with you for prosperity of our two countries. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very, very much, my dear colleague and sister. I just wanted to invite my colleague to join us at the signing of a document. President, you may recall that you had instructed us in your remarks to the media earlier that you would like MOUs to be concluded by the end of 2023. That press conference was held 3 hours ago. There had been an MOU that we'd been working on. Typically, it would go through many processes. We know what bureaucracy is like in both countries. We decided we should take you literally, President. And we decided between my colleague and I, and working with the presidencies of both countries, and thank you, DG, for your support, that we will get this document done sooner than planned. Not December 2023, which was the planned signing, but today. So we have an MOU here on industry and trade. It will focus on industrial cooperation between the two countries, trade cooperation, technical cooperation, the facilitation of investment, and it sets up a joint trade and investment committee that will bring together the two countries to address the challenges that investors face, but also to utilize the opportunities that await investors. So I will be joining my colleague now in signing this with the blessing of Minister Pandor, who has also been keen that we get more of these documents done. And so I hope that this indicates, President, Excellencies, we are taking the instruction very, very literally. Ladies and gentlemen, we're really now getting to the culmination, the main event of today. This has been an important opportunity for the business community to communicate to the two heads of state. And if I make a reflection, every president in South Africa has signature policies. President Ramaphosa, since the start of the administration, has made the pivot to African economic integration a key plank of the administration, of the government policies of the day, of the allocation of resources. The President has been an advocate of the African Continental Free Trade Area. During his chairship of the African Union, the agreement was finally reached that we would now implement the AFCFTA. He chaired the African Union during 2020, that COVID period that was such a challenging period for all of us. And in that time, President Ramaphosa became the African champion for COVID medication, for vaccines, for masks, for hand sanitizers, for all the diagnostics and therapeutics that were needed. And he mobilized sentiment across the world to ensure not only that we get these products from elsewhere, but that we make these products here on the African continent, that we have the masks and we have the ventilators and we have the vaccines to save African lives. And through those efforts, ladies and gentlemen, I must advise that we now have production of vaccines here on the African continent. We have two of those facilities here in South Africa. We have one of the facilities in East Africa, and more of them are expanding. We are now producing many other things that has been catalyzed by the champion on COVID-19 readiness. And so it's a great pleasure for me to invite President Ramaphosa, who has put forward the vision of a reimagined Africa and a reimagined growth plan for Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming His Excellency President Ramaphosa to address us. President, the stage is yours.
Yes. Thank you. Let's be seated, please. Program Director, Minister Ibrahim Patel, Your Excellency, President Samia Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania, High Commissioners of South Africa and Tanzania, Ministers and Deputy Ministers here present, representatives and leaders of business who are here with us today, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to welcome President Hassan, her delegation and the business delegation from Tanzania to our country. I believe that there are some 84 business leaders and business people who have come from the United Republic of Tanzania. Let us as South Africans give them a good round of applause. Over the past 3 days, government representatives at senior official level and ministers as well have held discussions on political, diplomatic, defense, and security matters, as well as matters that they've discussed touching on culture and economic matters. Earlier today, President Hassan and myself co-chaired the second binational commission between our two countries. The discussions that we held were underpinned by warmth, by a very cordial atmosphere, they were also underpinned by the very good relations that exist between Tanzania and South Africa. We were able to find common ground on practical measures that we need as two countries to take to forge a new partnership aimed at enhancing and increasing our bilateral trade and investment relations. This partnership is founded and rooted on a friendship that stretches way back, decades and decades back, when the people of Tanzania stood alongside and behind the people of South Africa when we were involved in a titanic struggle to end apartheid and establish a democratic society. The ties between our two countries are firm and they are enduring. Since our two countries established diplomatic relations in 1994, at the birth of our own democracy, we have established the Binational Commission in 2011. Bilateral trade and investment between our two countries has continued to grow by leaps and bounds. If one excludes gold, which Minister Patel referred to earlier, which are the exports to South Africa from Tanzania, trade increased from $177 in 1995 to $459 in 2021. Whether you like it or not, that is a whooping increase, which you ought to applaud. And Tanzania's exports to South Africa increased from $4.5 million in 1995 to $30 million in 2021. That too represents progress. Alongside this trade is a significant value chain through which Tanzanian gold is refined in South Africa for sale to central banks and other customers around the world. This gold trade alone was worth around $880 million in 2021. South Africa is a major investor in Tanzania. Between 1997 and 2022, South African companies have invested in a total of 250 projects valued at $1 billion. That too is a big figure. And this has helped to create more than 18,000 jobs in Tanzania. The projects cover sectors like agriculture, construction, real estate, telecommunications, financial services, transportation, manufacturing, mining, petroleum, tourism, energy, infrastructure, services, and broadcasting. So it's a wide spread of economic activity that is covered. There's still much scope for South Africa and Tanzania to strengthen cooperation in these sectors and also to expand into other sectors such as mineral beneficiation, healthcare, pharmaceuticals, and infrastructure development. South Africa and Tanzania are both state parties to the SADC Free Trade Agreement, which governs trade relations between our two nations or countries. It is crucial that we leverage the SADC Free Trade Agreement to increase mutually beneficial trade flows. To achieve this goal, We need deeper and more meaningful dialogue between our respective private sectors. We have convened this business forum with a view of encouraging the private sector to make practical suggestions about, if you like, the basket of products that should be targeted for trade under preferential terms. Now, we see this forum as an ideas bank, where you need, as I'm sure you have done, gleaning from the reports that have been given, have come up with a number of ideas which President Hassan and myself will study very closely after this discussion, because we need to transform the structure of trade relations with each other and with the rest of the world. And you are therefore a very important role player in all this, where you are able to give us your lived experience like the two representatives who represented you all who spoke on the platform here. For example, between 2019 and 2021, South Africa imported $68 million worth of certain specific categories of goods from Tanzania, while it imported 4.8 billion of the same set of products from the rest of the world. You can already see that there's misalignment. During the same period, Tanzania imported $1 billion worth of certain specific, or significant categories of goods from South Africa, while importing $14 billion of the same set of products from the rest of the world. So what we are doing is to trade with the rest of the world in buying those same significant goods that we can trade with between ourselves. And by so doing, we are creating jobs in the rest of the world and not between our two nations. That is misalignment, and we therefore need to be much more focused in making sure that this misalignment is gotten rid of. We must therefore make a concerted effort to increase the supply of made in South Africa and made in Tanzania goods into each other's markets. I would like to walk into a supermarket, which unfortunately my handlers prevent me from doing from time to time, because that's something I used to enjoy greatly. Walk into a supermarket and be able to see goods from Tanzania and say to myself, I want goods that are made in Africa, and I specifically want to zero into the wonderful tea made or grown or produced in Tanzania. That is what I want to do. Now, this is what we should be doing. I don't know whether you are allowed, President Hassan, whether they allow you to go around into the market, into a shopping center. I think you're pretty much like me. You're a prisoner. We're both prisoners. But that's precisely what we would like to see in each other's markets, so that we see more and more goods and products that are made here on our continent. Other continents, particularly Europe, for instance, up to 70% of their goods and products are produced within their own environments. And if they have to import, it will be maybe 30%. In our case, it's even worse than the reverse. So this is something that we need to focus on. We as a country have decided, and under the guidance and leadership of Department of Trade and Industry and Competition, on localization. And we said, right, a few years ago that we want locally made goods, so that South Africans should buy locally made goods. And some people started laughing us out of court and saying it's not attainable, it's a pipe dream. And we are driving this policy. We are driving it, and we are beginning to see its good effects. But we want to be able to say the localization drive will also include our region, our SADC region, so that we are able to say we are helping to create jobs in Tanzania and in other parts of our region as well. So I, like President Hassan, have looked forward, even as we were at our press conference, even at our official talks, we kept saying we look forward to your deliberations here, so that we can hear the wisdom that will be emanating from your discussions. It is our desire to build on the solid relations between our two countries and to harness our collective capabilities to forge a new deal for the mutual benefit of our people. And forging and relying on our relationship has also meant and also means that we are able to learn from each other. We as South Africans, and we found this out very clearly during our official talks, were able to learn from what Tanzania is doing. And similarly, Tanzania can learn from us. I want to tell you about what could have been an embarrassing moment for us as South Africans during our official talks. Suddenly, the lights went out. The lights just went out. And I quietly turned to President Hassan. I said, we have load shedding in our country. And she, in a very gentle way, apart from the fact that she's a woman, she's got a very gentle disposition. She says, no, President, don't worry. We also experience the same. Don't worry, you are not the only ones who do this, who go through this. So we learn from each other. And one of the issues or questions that was raised at the press conference is, now that we're having challenges with our own energy generation, are we going to be able to buy energy from Tanzania? I said, that is one of the issues that are raised with the President in our discussions. That yes, in our tete-a-tete, I said, we would like, if you have surplus power, but we should buy some surplus power from you. Because that's precisely what we have decided to do to address our current energy challenges. And these are energy challenges that will pass, because we've embarked on a process that is focused on addressing these challenges. Last year in July, I announced an energy action plan which is aimed at reducing load shedding in our country, giving attention to our installed energy fleet. We've got installed 44,000 megawatts of energy, but over time, the maintenance thereof has flagged down, and we are now paying attention to this. But at the same time, we are increasing our energy generation through renewable energy and making sure that we boost our energy generation. So the load shedding we're going through now is a passing phase. A few weeks ago, we declared this moment that we are in as a disaster, state of disaster. And to this end, I appointed a Minister of Electricity who is focusing on just making sure that we navigate our way out of the load shedding that we are going through. But I got comforting words from my sister, President Hassan, when he said, President, yes, you are going through a challenging period. You will get out of it. And we will get out of it because we are determined and we are focused and we are success-driven people. As a nation, we are proud to be associated with Tanzania, which is also a success-driven nation whose economy is growing by leaps and bounds. And when I hear that, my heart is filled with joy that we have a sister country that is surging ahead with us, and having supported us during our struggle, we will continue supporting each other as we search forward for economic growth and progress so that the peoples of Tanzania and South Africa can have a better life. Thank you for being here, and thank you for the ideas that you put forward. Thank you.
I'd like to thank His Excellency President Ramaphosa for those remarks. Honorable members who are here from Cabinet, business leaders who are here, it's really my pleasure now to invite Her Excellency to address us. Honorable Excellency, I should say, Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan was born in a very beautiful part of Africa, in Zanzibar. And it is one that I think many South Africans will be visiting after your address, Your Excellency. Please, if we can all welcome the first female president of Tanzania, the vice chairperson of the Constituent Assembly tasked with drafting the new constitution in 2022, one of the 100 most influential people in the world according to Time magazine, and someone who's driven the COVID program and infrastructure in Tanzania. Excellency, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Minister. You're celebrating, but not without challenges. Facing a lot of challenges. But it's being done. Your Excellency, my brother Cyril Ramaphosa, President of the Republic of South Africa, Honorable Ephraim Patel, Minister for Trade, Industry and Competition from the Republic of South Africa, Honorable Aisha Tukijaji, Minister for Trade from my place, Honorable Ministers and Deputy Ministers from South Africa and Tanzania, Permanent Secretaries here present, business leaders, heads of government institutions and members of the private sector, development partners, hope you're here with us, members of the press, invited guests. It's still afternoon. So good afternoon. I'm delighted and honored to participate in this Tanzania-South Africa Business and Investment Forum as part of the various activities undertaken during my state visit in this great country. This morning, among other activities, I had the opportunity to participate in the second session of the Binational Commission between Tanzania and South Africa that I co-chaired with my gracious host and my dear brother, His Excellency Cyril Ramaphosa. The BNC considered different areas of cooperation between our two countries, including the area of trade and investment, which is a grand agenda in this meeting. And in this regard, I wish to commend the organizers for their sterling job in preparation of this event, which bears the theme, forging a new deal towards higher levels of trade and investment between South Africa and Tanzania. And we hope we are going to forge new deals from here. We have seen MOU signed, but I hope still B2B is going to go, the dialogue is going to continue, and we are going to forge the new deals. The theme is pertinent indeed, and the program of the forum provides room for extensive engagement and business matching. With such diversity, I'm confident that participants have had in-depth exchange, and the outcome of this forum will usher in a new momentum in trade and investment cooperation between our two countries. Distinguished participants, I've had some of the challenges presented by those two gentlemen who spoke earlier concerning the challenges involved in trading and investing in our two countries. And we too have had that, and we promise we are going to work on them. But let me take you through some of the policy reforms that have been done in Tanzania and that have resulted in positive outcomes. The government of the United Republic of Tanzania is determined and dedicated to consolidating policy and making institutional and regulatory reforms to improve the business environment. Some of the reforms undertaken have improved consistency and predictability of policies, laws, and regulations. They are also intended to enhance transparency and address unnecessary red tape and other related bottlenecks in trade and investment. On the same note, Tanzania has strengthened cooperation frameworks on tax matters, including the avoidance of double taxation, which is a bigger cry on this part of the world, and I promise you will soon sign another MOU on the double taxation between Tanzania and South Africa. Furthermore, we have taken stern measures to improve efficiency in revenue collection and tax administration by enhancing fairness in tax assessment, ensuring timely VAT returns, and digitalization of the tax systems. When I spoke of VAT returns, I knew some of you were saying, Tanzania, you're so bad in VAT returns, but we have corrected that, and now we are returning on time. So, the government has also amended the Tax Revenue Appeals Act, CAP 408, to accommodate alternative dispute resolution mechanism, and hence reducing bureaucracy in addressing tax appeals. Steps have also been taken to strengthen the Tanzania Investment Center and Zanzibar Investment Promotions Authority to effectively and efficiently operate as one-stop center for investment, promotion, and facilitation. Our distinguished participants, another groundbreaking reform has been the enactment of the new Tanzania Investment Act of 2022 to replace that of 1997, and the new act has introduced a level playing field, shortened time for obtaining investment licenses from 14 days to 7 working days, and granted access to international arbitration for settlement of disputes, either in accordance with Tanzania arbitration laws or the International Center for Settlement of Investment Disputes, or within the framework of any bilateral or multilateral agreement on investment protection agreed to by the government of Tanzania and the government of the investor's country of origin. So we have changed. Before you come to Tanzania, invest your money, and when we do wrong, we take you to the arbitration in our own courts, and we thought that was not correct, and we changed the course. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, in regards to the rebuilding of the economy, Tanzania continues with the construction of infrastructural and energy flagship projects. As you are aware, we are continuing with construction of the standard gauge railway of about close to 2,000 kilometers from Dar es Salaam to Kigoma. And then we expect the railway will cross over to Burundi, Rwanda, then DRC. But we thought upon completion, the railway is expected to boost intra-regional trade, especially with landlocked neighbors, such as Burundi, the DRC, as I said before, Rwanda and Uganda. So on infrastructural development, we are doing fine. And not only the railway, the roads connecting the neighborhood are also in good conditions. Likewise, Tanzania government is working on increasing power generation, as President Ramaphosa said it rightly. And we thought, or we hope, this power generation is going to contribute significantly to the Southern African power pool, because we have a program in SADC of having the Southern African power pool, whereas all countries in SADC are supposed to generate power, put in a pool, and then we share it. We sell to one another. So my government is doing that and has also improved efficiency and expanded capacity of Dar es Salaam, Tanga, Mtwara, and Zanzibar ports. Tanzania is very much endowed with 4 seaports, and those are Dar es Salaam, Zanzibar, Mtwara, and Tanga. But then with the Lake Victoria and Lake Tanganyika, we do have other ports to connect to the neighboring country. So when you invest in Tanzania, you are sure of the market. And I heard one of my brothers complaining about the market access. But when you are in Tanzania, you get the market, SADC, East African, and African market. So the market access, we have no problem. Dear delegates, the said reforms and measures implemented by the government have yielded positive outcomes. For instance, the total value of registered foreign investments has quadrupled from US $1.1 billion in 2020 to US $4.5 billion in 2022. Liquidity enhancement and prudent monetary policy implementation have resulted in a rebound of annual credit growth. The private sector, credit growth to the private sector to a record of 22.5% in December 2022, compared to 10% in the corresponding period in 2021, and an average of 9.3% over the period of 2015 to 2020. And so the real GDP is now back on the recovery path from a growth of 4.8% in 2020, 4.9% in 2021, an average of 5.2% over the quarter 1, 2, and 3 in 2022. And I've read the World Bank article recently projecting the growth of 6.2% in few years to come, next year and few years to come. So despite continued pressure on food and energy prices, inflation has remained moderate. In 2022, inflation rate averaged 4.3% compared to 3.9% in 2021, which is within the target of 5% in our development vision, and far less than East African average of 10%. So we are still doing good. With such growth momentum, Tanzania has become one of the fastest growing economies in sub-Saharan Africa, exceeding the regional average growth of 4.7% 2021 and 3.8% in 2022. These statistics attest to the fact that Tanzania is a bright spot for investment with high rate of return. What are you waiting? Come to Tanzania. What are you waiting? Distinguished delegates, I also wish to inform you that our government is in the process of formulating the coming 25 years vision from 2026 to 2050, in which we envision to transform the current lower middle income country to an upper middle income country. That transformation will certainly require, among others, increased trade and investment. I'm deeply convinced that this forum will serve as an important lever towards that end. At this juncture, let me highlight some investment priority sectors. I've had them being mentioned by the businessmen who spoke earlier, but let me tell you that our government has accorded special attention to agriculture in line with Agenda 1030, which seeks to promote commercial agriculture and increase growth to 10% by 2030. The approach that we have adopted is cluster farming for the youth, which requires significant investment in mechanization, agro-processing, and digital platforms. Some of the targeted crops for the large-scale farming includes sugarcane, wheat, sunflower, maize, and horticulture. This morning I was talking to my brother, President Ramaphosa. I was telling him, my brother, you're importing rice from Vietnam. Tanzania has got 22 million hectares of land unutilized, and it's the best land for rice growing. So why can't you come down, we work together, produce enough rice and irrigation schemes, and you save your money, save your money, dollar, going to Vietnam, instead you buy from Tanzania, or you harvest from Tanzania to South Africa. So I invite the business community to come down and work with us. We do have the cluster farming for youth. It's a way to create employment, but they lack capital, they lack mechanization, they lack technology. So if the private sector is ready to work with them, we are ready to welcome the private sector, work with these youth to promote food security in our region. Another sector is blue economy. It is a potential area for investment, given the ample marine resources we have in Tanzania, both in mainland and Zanzibar. Deep sea fishing, aqua farming and processing, oil and gas exploration are some of the opportunities awaiting to be exploited. Tourism is also present as an important field of investment, especially with the growing number of tourists. There's a need for expansion of infrastructure. We managed to sell the tourism attractions of our country. We had a film called The Royal Tour, which was shown throughout the world, and we are now receiving big numbers of tourists, but surely we are lacking some of the infrastructure, such as high-end hotels, transport, sport arenas, and other recreational facilities. So welcome the business community from South Africa, working together with your partners in Tanzania, investing in this area as well. Another area that may be of interest to some of you relates to energy sector, of which I said this is a priority because we have to improve the Southern African power pool. And fortunately, Tanzania, we are endowed with multiple sources of renewables and other forms of clean energy through solar, wind, thermal, hydro, differently. So power generation is another area of investment. Dear delegates, as you are all aware, ICT and digital transformation are equally key drivers of rapid development. Our national ICT policy advocates for investment in digital infrastructure to enhance skills and capitalize on cutting-edge digital innovations such as robotic engineering, artificial intelligence, and others. South Africa is more advanced in terms of science and technology. We welcome all potential investors to join us in this endeavor. More importantly, as I said, it's a market. When you invest in Tanzania, the market is guaranteed. Lastly, as I conclude, I wish to reiterate my firm belief that this business forum will serve as a catalyst for increased trade and investment, cooperation between our brotherly nations, and a venue to build confidence and trust. I underline a venue to build confidence and trust. We have immense potentials to explore, so explore them for the social, economic betterment of our nations. I thank you for your kind attention. Thank you very much.
I'd like to sincerely thank Her Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan for that address. Before our meeting started with its formal proceedings earlier, the national anthems were played. And there may have been some South African participants who were puzzled at the fact that there were two versions of the South African anthem being played. And I saw they were waiting for the other words to start. Now, the first anthem that was played was, in fact, Mungu Ibariki Afrika, the Swahili language version of God Bless Africa. And it's to the same tune as our anthem, Nkosi Sikeleli Afrika. And it's a demonstration of that very deep bonds of solidarity between the two countries. And today is about matching that bonds of solidarity with the depth of two-way investment and two-way trade that will enable us to create more jobs in Tanzania and South Africa and more economic opportunity for our people. Ladies and gentlemen, today's events have reaffirmed and refreshed the warmth of our relationship and the keenness and appetite to do more. I wish to thank the two people who've made it possible, the two presidents who with their vision have provided the space for the business community and government officials to do what we need to do. I'd like to thank the two members of Cabinet, the business associations and the private sector firms who are represented here today, and the directors general and officials of the DTIC, of DIRCO, and of the presidency, and the officials from the different departments, the permanent secretaries from Tanzania. Asante. For the Tanzanian business delegates, we hope you'll stay an extra few days now that you've swapped business cards, and you'll take out your credit cards and enjoy the beauty of another part of Africa. Listen to our music, taste South African food, and visit some great places in our country. And we look forward to South African business people doing the same when they travel to Tanzania. I now wish to request that you join us in thanking the presidents and provide the two presidents an opportunity to depart and for delegates to remain in the room while their excellencies take their leave. Thank you very much.